But also, when you kind of refer to the US and the UK, I wonder how free, artistically speaking, the UK is, because don't a lot of rappers kind of complain the fact that their music videos just get taken down? A lot of them have like wear masks already, but they kind of have to hide their identity because they could be charged for things that they rapped about. So what are some of the differences you see? Because there is a very violent scene in the UK too. Well, what difference do you see over there that maybe they have to overcome that isn't that prevalent here?
Well, that's a great question, because it's true. The UK isn't as free of a country as the US. You know, we don't actually have freedom of speech. I mean, we don't have a constitution. Like, realistically, like British people, we're not entitled to rights like you guys are in America. And it's these details that make America a great country. Like, you're entitled to, you know, your guns, your free speech, a lot of other things. We don't have that. And, you know, yeah, the Met Police, like mainly in London, they do crack down on certain artists. Like, certain people aren't allowed to say certain things, and the courts will take down their videos. They'll send an injunction to YouTube, and YouTube have to comply. You know, people get mad at YouTube. It's like, oh, YouTube taking down this drill video in the UK, but it's the police, it's the Met Police. They actually have the power to do that. They want YouTube to take down a certain video because they feel it's going to incite violence between two specific gangs that are documented gangs at war. YouTube have to do it, and they got to take it down. And it's been a big thing. There's been a few waves of like big batches of drill videos getting taken down. But at the end of the day, they can't stop it because it always gets re-uploaded. They throw it up on Reddit, and you know they don't really take these things down off Reddit, or at least the police aren't hot on it enough. But like, it is different, man. And I think in the UK, it's one of these things where it's like, the cops. The thing is, they say what we're trying to do is not incite violence. We're trying to like simmer down the violence and stop having people jump on songs saying, "I'm going to stab him, I'm going to shoot him," and it playing out. That's what they say. But the reality is, if you're in a gang war, you're going to go and shoot him regardless of whether your song's on YouTube or Reddit or TikTok. The shootings are going to happen. The music is just a way for these guys to express themselves around it. So I personally think it's dumb. I don't think they should be taking this stuff down. But it just goes to show, I mean, I don't think there's many, if any, examples of like American artists where the police have actually gotten their art taken off of streaming services, no?
I don't think there's been that case.
Not encourage. It's almost like the YSL thing. Why are they taking down the biggest people, YSL, the most publicized gang, if you will, at least in the music industry? Why are they taking down the UK rappers? Because if you take down the people who are communicating this gang culture to be cool, then kids won't want to be in gang culture.
I think that's definitely a part of it. You know, that's obviously they don't say that that's what they're doing because they can't, because they're not entitled to, you know. And again, like the Met Police in London, it shouldn't be their role to dictate what society is doing. Like, you know, in London, for example, like in the past few years, you see all the kids just wearing Nike Tech tracksuits, right? Because they want to be like the gangsters. And, you know, you hear a lot of old people. I mean, you even hear fucking people like Andrew Tate talking about, oh, in London, oh, everybody's got a knife now and they all walk around in these Nike tracksuits. And it's like, yo, the kids can wear whatever the fuck they want, bro. Like, if you want to ride around on a scooter with a side bag and a tracksuit and you're not doing any crime, you're entitled to do that. Like, but, you know, like you say, you know, they would love to ban all the drill music and not have people wearing Nike Techs. I don't know what we'd wear if the Met Police had their way. You know, we'd all be wearing button-up shirts and not carrying side bags for your knife.
You'd
but
be wearing the classic wigs.
Bro, yeah, facts, bro. Like the judges and stuff in the UK wear those and shit. But like,
they actually do that?
The judges do, yeah.
Still?
The judges and a certain level of lawyer you have to get to. You have to wear a wig, yeah.
No way.
The little grey wig, bro. It's old school. UK's old school, man. It's old school. You got a beautiful country here, man.
So you think it's still very seated in tradition? I kind of like that aspect of it, though. There should be an element of tradition carried. Now, tradition. Yeah, I think there should be, because then you kind of like lose the sense of the country at all. Like, what does it mean to be like English anymore?
Totally. And I think the thing is, I feel like there's a fine line, because it's like you got to keep that sense of tradition and identity of like, yeah, you know, like this is what the country represents. But I feel like a lot of people, especially in the UK, like they kind of just like use that as an excuse to like tell other people what to do.
Yes.
Just like, yo, that's not the British world. How British people should do things. And it's like, bro, Britain is like, it's an old ass country, but also like we need to go into the modern age. Like, that's why I think America's the greatest country, because it's like entrepreneurial. You guys are down to like try new things, new ideas. I come to a city in America and it's all modern. You know, there's new things. Like, I remember years ago coming to, maybe it was LA or something, but it was like, you know, you had those scooters that you could rent, and like,
yeah, the bird ones.
That was the first time I'd seen those, and it was just like, you know, some tech company had decided we're going to try this out, and you see them on the streets. Whereas in the UK, it was a much longer process for us to get stuff like that. But it's just like, it's an entrepreneurial country, man. You guys want to try stuff. Like, you guys want to do new things. You got your traditions and your constitution, but also like you're down to like experiment and like take things forward, man.
One thing I've noticed though with the UK is a lot of artists have been blowing up more, but the biggest artists rappers at least, seem to be adjacent to like the street stuff, but not necessarily involved or as involved. Do you think that there's a ceiling for like actual street rappers, gangster rappers in the UK, and they're just gonna either get arrested or get their music taken down so much that they're just kind of like blacklisted? Whereas in America, I feel like the street artists have a very incredibly high ceiling where they can become pretty much stars.
I think you were right until very recently. I think, like, for example, I think it was last year, it was the first drill song in the UK to go #1, which is a guy, Russ Millions and Tion Wayne, who are both very, like, have deep histories in the streets. They've both had a lot of beef, the type of shit that you can watch. You know, Russ is on IG Live chasing ops through the store way back. Tion Wayne's, you know, there's like footage of him trying to punch it up on an airplane. Like, you know, these guys are like, they've definitely been wilding out and had their street situations, but at the same time, I think the charts are now, at least in the UK, are now being more friendly to these guys that have gotten to the top level in music, and they're making like catchy drill songs. And I think the fact that a lot of these guys, they're now moving away from the songs that just like, I want to stab him, and like we get around there and stab them, we shoot them, and it's now more like dance music that sort of hints at violence, which I think's like, I just think it's cool, man. Like they got a song where it's all about it's a song like called Body Oddy, right? It was a massive song in the UK, and it's, you know, it's about girls and it's about dancing, but it's also like there's little lyrics in there that just hint at like catching bodies and stabbing people, but it's not, the whole song isn't just about violence. It's like subtle.
Specific details of like, I did it at this store, like
exactly, because no one that's listening to mainstream radio in their car on the way to their job wants to hear the specific details of a crime. They want to hear about dance moves, and maybe they catch a little hint of something that's like some gangster shit, but they don't really understand it. You know, it's like you were saying way back at the start of this conversation, it's like way back, I feel like the gangster rap in the US, like the 50 Cent era, used to be a lot more subtle. You know, 50 Cent had that lyric about the guy that shot him, and he was like, he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't fucking breathing. And it's like, yo, like, sounds like 50 got get back on the guy that shot him, but he doesn't say, I shot this guy 4 times on 4 p.m. on the 5th of January, and we slid on him, and rest in piss. Like, it is subtle, and it's like, you know, that song, what's that other 50 Cent song that...
So have rappers gotten stupider with their lyrics and their moves?
Yo, you know what it is? I think, I don't want to offend anybody with this, but I think it's a lot of rappers that are literally fresh out the streets. They drilled somebody that week, and they're making a song about it, and they've not even thought about it. They're just saying like, yeah, I slid on him and we slid on them. We're smoking on this guy. And it's like, yo, I don't know who needs to do it. Like, I know you need like an OG like Lil Durk to sit these new rappers down that are out the streets and be like, yo, you cannot be snitching on yourself. You need to actually think of a smart way of saying that you shot somebody, but not really admitting to it. And like, honestly, I know people love their drill and their violent music, but I think everybody actually agrees that it's better if it's a riddle and it's not super obvious what you did. Like, actually that's better, but I think it's a shortcut, man. Like, you can be a guy that literally shot someone this week and be like, I'm gonna make a song.
Could it be because rappers nowadays are more so punching in the studio rather than writing the lyrics?
I think so.
There's less time to think, and like the process is way shorter to get the song out.
Yeah, no, facts. I think that's spot on, because I think what you've got is this situation. I mean, this sounds dumb, right? But you can just imagine a scenario where you've got someone like Dirk's in the studio, and he's got five people from O Block with him. You know, he's got the gang with him, or like, you know, even like people like Muwop that were like supposedly involved in these big high-profile murders, and they were making songs, and they're just talking about spinning, and they're saying, you know, we duck them down, we're ducking no bodies, and it's just like, bro, like, he's obviously jumped in the booth, he's allegedly involved in the killing of FBG Duck, and he's just like, yo, how can I put the word duck in there? And it's like, someone needs to be like, bro, you actually don't need to go this deep, like, just tone it down.
Or something.
Bro, they'd be doing that as well, you know what I mean? They were saying that. The Dirk's got loads of lyrics where he's saying like duck, duck, goose and shit, and it's just like, bro, chill. Just chill, bro. Stick with the lyrics about India.
That's a free pass for getting clout, bro. Cause then you're turning your life, it's almost like the Kardashians at that point.
You know what I think is interesting, right? And I think it's a detail not a lot of people have picked up on, is that actually I think a lot of this drill stuff, it's become this almost like this social media, like Hunger Games reality show where you've got guys, right. I'm thinking specifically K-Flock. Before he blew up, he was on IG Live, spinning the block. I'm out here looking for the ops. Where they at? I got my thing on me. And it's like, yo, people are tuning in. And I remember I did my story on the Bronx gang war with the whole drill scene over there. And it was sort of like, I'm watching these videos of K-Flock spinning the block, and then every live he does, he's getting more and more viewers. And I'm not saying it was a good idea, because now he's in jail, potentially facing a lot of years, but it's like, that's a shortcut to the clout,
Right.
but it's also, you're borrowing against your future to get clout now, because I don't know how his case is going to go, but he might go away for many, many years, you know?